Hello Crosskart fans. It's a little chilly in my garage today. It's only 17 degrees here and I don't have a heated garage. I just have a little mini heater. So I'll tack up the frame tomorrow. But I wanted to shoot a video today because there's been some interest in the dimensions of this Crosskart. So we'll go over that a little bit. I am 6 foot tall, 5'11", 6 foot, average size guy. And this has plenty of room. Plenty of headroom, plenty of leg room, plenty of room side to side. The first one, the black one you see in the videos, is kind of tight. Well, I adjusted all that for this one, and all the measurements are working out perfectly. I moved the main roll bar back 3 inches so your helmet's not going to hit it. I raised this up, I widened this out, more room for the seat or other seat options, and I adjusted it, or I made it so that you can adjust the seat angle. You do that through the mounting brackets of the seat, but if you lean back, you get more headroom. So I'm in a comfortable driving position. Even with my helmet on, I've got plenty of room to do whatever I need to do. Everything's within reach. The harness, it's not a problem anywhere. So let's get down to the actual measurements of it. So I've got my tape measure set up here, and it's set up to the exact end of where the tailpipe is, the most aft part. And from the tailpipe to the nose is exactly 100 inches. The exhaust could be moved in a couple inches, but I like the way it looks. I like it hanging out just a little bit. Now the measurement from the tailpipe to the center of the front wheel, or where the contact patch is 90 inches. Your track widths are going to be based on the offset of your wheels and your tires, whatever you run on it, but it's right around 65 inches. That seemed like a good width for the track based on the wheelbase and the handling. The wheelbase of this is right around 77 inches, 76 to 77 inches. It's minorly adjustable with the rear A-arms and where you mount the front A-arms. If you're getting super technical and want like an exact 75-inch wheelbase, you can achieve that. If you want it a little longer for primarily asphalt driving, you can make it a little longer. The height, and I have this one set up at 9 inches of clearance in the front and 9.5 inches of clearance in the back. I like just a little bit of a rake on stuff, make it look a little more aggressive, a little meaner. You can change that with preload, different shocks, mounting locations. So with roughly 9 inches of clearance, this is 51 inches tall, maybe 52, right in that area. The width from the cross member to cross member is, to the inside, about 34 inches inside to inside. And so 100 inches total, 90 inches from the tailpipe to the contact patch of the front tire, and 65 to 68 inches wide. This was designed to fit in the bed of a full-size truck. Now obviously with the tailgate down, and the front half is only about 240 pounds, which most tailgates can handle pretty well, especially split between 2 wheels on the outside. This is a poor man's Crosskart, so that was part of the design concept, was mobility. You don't need a trailer, you don't need a toy hauler. You can still load this in the bed of your truck, hook up your camper, go have an awesome weekend without having to worry about how to get your fun toy to where you're going. Now, I knew I wasn't going to be able to accommodate every single person, but I did try to make it adjustable so that most people could have kind of a universal fit, but make adjustments to their liking. If you don't like the position of this stick, it has multiple places where you can adjust exactly where it sits and how much it throws. You can adjust it by these linkages here, but then afterwards, you can use this bell crank on the torque tube to adjust exactly where you want that stick to sit. Custom tune it to your preference. The steering wheel distance from the back of the seat to where your hands sit is adjustable. This is your main universal steering joint. Now all you have to do is drill 2 holes in this. There's a limited length here, but there is some adjustability. You can adjust it by an inch or so, which makes a big difference as far as your arm reach. Inside here, you can adjust the height of the steering wheel. There's 2 outputs. None of this is quickly adjusted, but you can fine tune it to your exact needs and wants. Now you have to take the seat out to adjust it, but if you want to let your little lady drive, or your older kid that's just not long enough to reach the pedals, I did make these pedals adjustable. If you can't make the seat adjustable, make the pedals adjustable. So there's a good, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches. That will accommodate a lot of leg lengths and a lot of different drivers. And it's quickly adjustable right on the bottom. I mean, it's not just a lever release system, but it is fairly quickly adjustable. Now I'd like to address something else. A lot of comments, a lot of questions. There seems to be a lot of interest in my rear end. So let's talk about it. It took me a long time to figure out what combination would work in this. And I thought of this over 10 years ago, and I saw the Polaris Outlaw, either 500 or 525, was a chain-driven, independent rear suspension ATV that had reverse. Now that's the key combination. It didn't necessarily have to be chain-driven, as long as the rear end was affordable. Well, over 10 years ago, you couldn't get an Outlaw for under $6,000. Well, I waited 10 years until the prices started coming down, until they started getting worn out, until I could find one that was messed up enough to try this. And I eventually did. I eventually found one for $1,200, and that was used to make the black one that you see there. Now, in retrospect, if my budget for the quad was, say, $2,000, and I came across a solid axle ATV for $800 to $1,000, I could apply $1,000 towards buying a full rear setup. Protodi makes an excellent 930 CV shaft setup that's on a rear center carrier with a brake and a sprocket. And if I'd known what I know now, I may have just taken a solid axle quad on cheap, used all the components from it, bought the Protodi, because you know those are going to handle way more horsepower than an ATV rear end. So the options would be nearly limitless. So we'll take a look at it. So this is the rear end. It's a unique setup, and it's some absolutely brilliant engineering done by Polaris. This is the rear center carrier, and it's got 2 large bearings and 2 sleeves that plug in from either side. One holds the brake rotor, the other one holds the rear sprocket, and the inside CV joint is the hub itself. So you don't have the can sitting for your plunge outside. Your leverage point is more in the middle. This is absolutely brilliant, and the first time I saw it, I fell in love with it and knew that it was going to be key. The closer you can put your axles to the center line, the more travel you can have without making it so wide. you know, if the axle started here, you would have to add that distance onto your overall width to get 10 inches, 12 inches, 15 inches of suspension travel. And then you're looking at a buggy that's got a wheelbase of 77 inches and a width of 77 inches, which is square and would probably look silly and probably not handle that well. So this is the rear end I went with. The way it adjusts, it's got 2 ears on the bottom. So you make some tabs, you attach to your frame, you mock up something to keep tension on it and to set your chain tension. This actually has two, it's got these 2 ears coming off with a slider that's on the same rotation of the carrier bearing. And then it's got, you can't see it in the shot, it's got this bolt coming off the back. So it's solid. It will not allow this to move forward. Now you have a chain on here, so you don't have to worry about it moving back so much. But having a bolt on the back just makes this a really sturdy, solid setup. I've set up a user group under the KJ Racing with a Y Facebook page to where all the people building this can come together. We can discuss new ideas, tips and tricks, share each other's knowledge. I'm sure some of you guys have good ideas for this too that can be applied into this, and I would be more than happy to do it with you. So yeah, it's KJ Racing VF1 Kart discussion group, and you can find it on the KJ Racing Facebook page. Thank you for whoever commented and had that idea that there should be some kind of forum and discussion platform to talk about building these. And finally, to everybody that's gotten the plans before I even tacked that together, thank you. Sincerely, thank you. That means a lot. I didn't think any plans would be sold until I at least had it tacked together in a solid configuration. So for the people at bottom and have faith in what I'm doing and can see the hard work I'm putting into this, it really means a lot. Thanks.